Today, we're going to talk about the science of satiety, the science of you feeling fed, satisfied, and less inclined to eat more. And we're going to talk about specifically a hormone called CCK. The long mouthful of the name is cholecystokinin. And the thing to know about CCK is that there are ways you can eat such that you increase the production of CCK and therefore feel satisfied, not hungry, and less inclined to eat more. And there are ways to eat such that you decrease the production of CCK and therefore are still hungry even with the same amount of calories. Okay, so maybe you've had enough calories for your fundamental energy needs, but you haven't sent a message to your brain that you've been fed and therefore remain hungry. Let's face it, it's really tough to not eat when you're hungry, right? So the big thing about this CCK hormone is it requires the consumption of fat in order to produce it. It's a very cool multitude of events that lead to its production, but primarily the thing to know is it starts with fat. So, if we reflect on, some of you may be around my age or older and remember in the 90s, the fat-free era, right? The adage of that era was, if no fat touches my lips, no fat touches my hips. Well, I was very much at that time in my life, I was in college, a little bit before college and during college, and for a brief time afterwards, devotee, simply because I didn't know better. And a few things to know about that time. I was hungry, very, very hungry. I spent quite a few years hungry. And I was about 20 pounds heavier than I am now. And I also worked out exponentially more than I do now. I mean, by hours a day, right? So just know, I tried it, science experiment complete. And I can tell you from my experience, it really, it's, when I went to graduate school and I learned about this hormone, CCK, it was like a light bulb that went on. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I was so hungry for so long and couldn't figure out how to lose weight. So, the big takeaway from this is to engage CCK, you want to make sure you get some fat at every meal. How much fat? 10 to 15 grams minimum. Maybe even a little bit more. You can kind of play with how your body feels. And also for snacks, you want to make sure you get some fat, right? So a way to think about that is if you're having a piece of fruit, have a couple of nuts with it. If you're having some veggies, dip it in some hummus or guacamole, things like that. So your tip of this Friday is to engage that sense of satiety. Make sure you are getting some fat with every meal. That will help your body produce that lovely satiety hormone, CCK, and you will feel well-fed, fueled, and a happy camper for much longer. Thanks so much and have a great day and weekend ahead.